You were not designed to wrestle life into submission. You were designed to command it into harmony. And yet so many people unknowingly wake up each morning preparing for battle. Against bills, against time, against fear, against the idea that wealth is hard to reach and harder to keep. That belief alone has done more damage than any external hardship ever could, because life obeys belief more faithfully than effort. When you rise every day saying, "I must struggle," life answers, "Then struggle you shall." But when you declare, "I command wealth," the unseen forces begin shifting in your favor. Opportunities realign, people appear, ideas awaken, resources come knocking, not because you begged, but because you expected. Struggle is not a badge of honor. It is a misunderstanding of how abundance works. You were never meant to suffer your way into success. You were meant to think, speak, and feel your way into it. The universe does not respond to exhaustion. It responds to conviction. Your words are not decoration. They are instructions. Every sentence you whisper to yourself is a command issued to the great power that governs your life. Say, "Money avoids me," and watch it do just that. Say, "Wealth is drawn to me," and circumstances begin silently arranging to prove you right. Not instantly, but inevitably, you see, wealth is attracted to certainty. It avoids confusion, fear, desperation, and self-doubt the way water avoids dry ground. When you expect lack, you create an invisible vacuum that repels resources. But when you expect provision, you create a gravitational force that draws supply toward you. Poor thinking breeds poor outcomes. Rich thinking invites rich results. And rich thinking does not mean arrogance. It means alignment. It means knowing you deserve ease as much as effort. It means understanding that life is not testing your worth. It is responding to your awareness. Wealth begins as a spiritual agreement long before it ever appears as a physical result. And the moment you understand this truth, your entire relationship with money, success, and opportunity begins to change. Nothing in your outer world is accidental. It is not built by luck, chance, or fate. It is built by the invisible contracts you sign in your own mind every day through your beliefs, expectations, and emotional reactions. When you silently agree that life is hard, that money is always out of reach, or that success belongs to others but not to you, you are unknowingly authorizing struggle to remain in your experience. Yet when you reverse that inner agreement and decide that abundance is natural, support is constant, and provision is guaranteed, the entire pattern of your life begins to rearrange itself. Accordingly, most people attempt to change their finances by changing their behavior alone. Yet behavior without belief is powerless. You may work harder, hustle longer, and strain endlessly, but if your inner world still secretly believes that wealth is rare, reserved, or unreachable, you will find a way to block what you ask it. For even while pursuing it, your mind acts like a gatekeeper. It approves what you agree with and denies what you doubt. Until you become aware of the agreements you are living under, you remain in contracts you never consciously signed. Everything you experience is the echo of a belief you once entertained. Every bill you receive, every opportunity you miss, and every door that opens unexpectedly is a faithful mirror of something already accepted within. The unseen always goes first. The visible never leads. You never attract wealth outwardly until you accept it inwardly. This is why some people step into success with ease, while others struggle for a lifetime with equal or greater effort. The difference is not intelligence, education, or talent. It is consent. One person consents to favor, the other consents to fear. The moment you shift from feeling undeserving to feeling chosen, a strange and wonderful transformation begins. Life stops feeling like a closed room and starts behaving like an open road. Resources move toward you, not because you force them, but because you finally allow them. Your inner agreement becomes an invitation that the universe cannot refuse. You stop asking if you are worthy of wealth and start declaring that lack no longer has permission to rule your life. This change does not require struggle. It requires decision, a mental signature on a new contract with life. Each time you say, "I am supported," you rewrite destiny. Each time you say, "There is always more than enough," you reprogram expectation. Each time you say, "Wealth is my natural state," you revoke every old agreement with scarcity. The outer world simply obeys the inner authority. It does not challenge your beliefs, it confirms them. When your inner language changes from hesitation to authority, from doubt to faith, from hoping to knowing, the world must respond in kind. Wealth starts to feel familiar instead of foreign. Success feels normal instead of shocking. Abundance appears not as a miracle, but as a result. You were never meant to negotiate with poverty. You were meant to withdraw consent from it entirely. The moment you do, life is forced to offer you something better, not as a favor, but as a reflection of your new agreement with yourself. Struggle is not written into your destiny. It is written into many minds, passed down through repetition, and accepted as truth without question. From an early age, people are taught that life demands suffering, that success requires exhaustion, and that comfort must be earned through pain. Over time, this teaching hardens into belief, and belief quietly becomes identity. You do not simply experience struggle, you begin to expect it, and what you expect becomes the lens through which all of life is interpreted. Even moments of peace can feel suspicious when you have been trained to brace for difficulty. Rest feels lazy. Ease feels undeserved. Joy feels temporary. This is not reality. This is conditioning. No one is born believing that struggle is sacred. A child does not enter the world thinking money is rare, happiness is fragile, or success belongs to others. These ideas are absorbed through watching, listening, and repeating what seems normal in the world around them. When parents worry, children learn fear. When society glorifies burnout, people learn that exhaustion equals worth. When hardship is praised as evidence of character, individuals unconsciously accept suffering as a requirement for survival. In this way, struggle is inherited, not inevitable, yet life does not demand hardship, it responds to consciousness. When the mind stays convinced that comfort must be delayed and reward must be wrestled from a resistant world, experience rearranges itself to support that story. Doors take longer to open, progress feels heavy, opportunities seem scarce, not because life is cruel, but because life is obedient. It reflects what is assumed. You receive not what you desire most, but what you believe is reasonable to receive. People who live in constant struggle are not weak. They are loyal to a belief they did not choose. They serve an invisible master called, "That's just how life is." But the moment you question that authority, it loses its power. The instant you begin to wonder if peace is permissible, if success can arrive without suffering, if joy can be stable instead of fleeting, the spell begins to break. Abundance does not require pain. Progress does not require punishment. Growth does not require grief. These ideas were created by those who never learned another way and then passed on as fact. But life does not operate on punishment. It operates on permission. The more you allow yourself ease, the more easily life treats you. The more you expect support, the more support appears. Struggle persists only while it is honored as necessary. Some people fear letting go of suffering because it has become their identity. If they are not struggling, who are they? But peace does not remove purpose, it reveals it. Ease does not cancel ambition, it refines it. Wealth built on strain collapses quickly, But wealth built on alignment lasts. When the mind no longer prepares for worst-case scenarios, it finally becomes available for best-case outcomes. Liberation begins not with effort, but with awareness. You cannot fight conditioning with force. You dissolve it with truth. Each time you permit yourself to enjoy without guilt, you dismantle an old rule. Each time you succeed without apology, you rewrite an ancient script. Each time you rest without anxiety, you declare independence from struggle. Life was never meant to be a burden. It was meant to be an expansion. When you release the belief that hardship is holy, you make room for a new truth. Ease is lawful, abundance is natural, and joy is not a reward, it is your design. Your words are not harmless sound, drifting into the air. They are living forces shaping your future with quiet authority. Every phrase you repeat, whether aloud or in the privacy of your mind, becomes a command issued to life itself. Most people speak without realizing they are programming. They talk about money as if it is scarce, about success as if it is reserved for the lucky, and about themselves as if they are powerless. Then they wonder why life agrees with every complaint. Life is not judging your language, it is obeying it. What you speak today builds the circumstances you will live in tomorrow. A sentence repeated becomes a belief. A belief repeated becomes reality. When you constantly say, "I never have enough," you are teaching the universe exactly how much to give you. When you declare, "Everything works against me," you are instructing events to fall out of place. The greatest contradiction in human behavior is asking for abundance while speaking limitation. You cannot command wealth with a vocabulary of lack. The silent words are just as powerful as the spoken ones. Thoughts are whispers to destiny. A fearful thought carries the same creative authority as a confident one. The only difference is the result they produce. Many people live in inner conversations filled with doubt, criticism, and despair and wonder why their outer world echoes the same tone. Your life repeats the internal dialogue you refuse to change. Every word has direction. It either moves life toward expansion or contraction. There is no neutral language. When you speak, you are setting events in motion. Words are seeds, and destiny is the soil. Speak carelessly, and you grow chaos. Speak consciously, and you cultivate prosperity. Even a single sentence spoken with certainty can redirect an entire future. You may think circumstances shape your speech, but in truth, speech shapes circumstance. You are not reacting to life. Life is responding to you. When you complain, life supplies more to complain about. When you express gratitude, life increases what you value. When you declare strength, weakness fades. Language is not decoration, it is instruction. People often affirm without faith and then wonder why nothing changes. Words must be spoken with agreement, not mere repetition. The universe listens for conviction, not volume. A quiet declaration backed by belief carries more power than 1,000 empty affirmations. That is why alignment matters more than performance. Speak what you are ready to accept, not what you fear you lack. Begin to monitor your inner language as closely as your outer speech. Interrupt thoughts that insult your future. Refuse words that undermine your worth. Do not describe what you dread. Describe what you desire. Each time you redirect your speech, you reclaim authority. Language becomes a steering wheel in your hands instead of a habit driving you blindly. You do not attract what you want most. You attract what you say most. Your future listens more to your conversation than to your dreams. Change how you speak, and you change what follows you. Life is always eavesdropping on your declarations. It arranges itself according to your daily vocabulary. Speak like one who expects abundance, and abundance begins to expect you. Expectation is not a casual wish drifting through the mind. It is a powerful signal sent to life about what you are prepared To receive what you consistently expect trains the world on how to treat you. When a person walks through life assuming disappointment, life faithfully delivers reasons to be disappointed. When someone anticipates obstacles, obstacles seem to rise up in perfect formation. Expectation does not wait for proof, it creates it. Whatever you rehearse inwardly becomes the scene you perform outwardly. Many believe circumstances determine expectation, but in truth, expectation determines circumstances. Long before the result appears, the mind has already written the script. When you expect lack, you tighten around opportunity. You hesitate, you doubt, you postpone decision-making, and these small internal movements silently block supply. Life cannot deliver to hands that are closed with fear. Desperation is not a sign of sincerity. It is evidence of disbelief. When you are desperate, you announce that you do not trust outcome, and life mirrors that distrust by offering resistance. Hope mixed with fear cancels itself. Wanting without believing creates delay, but expectation rooted in certainty carries magnetic power. It does not beg, it summons. It does not hope, it anticipates. Wealth feels uncomfortable to those who have trained themselves to expect struggle, because the unfamiliar can feel unsafe even when it is favorable. Some people reject opportunity unconsciously simply because it contradicts what they believe is normal for them. They postpone success, dilute their dreams, and minimize their desires to stay loyal to an identity built on lack. Expectation is not just about what you want. It is about what you think you deserve. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You sink to the level of your expectations. If deep down you believe wealth is rare, you will settle for crumbs. If you believe it is natural, you will wait for nothing less than a feast. Expectation acts like a thermostat in the mind. It sets the temperature of your life. You may try to force change externally, but until you reset the internal setting, the environment returns to the old climate. Certainty is the mother of supply. The moment you calmly know that provision is inevitable, you become available for it. Anxiety dissipates when expectation stabilizes. You stop watching the clock. You stop measuring progress with panic. You stop preparing for failure, and in that emotional stillness, opportunity finally finds room to enter. Expectation without attachment is the art of trust. You hold the vision without clutching it. You expect outcome without strangling process. You know what is coming without demanding when. This calm confidence is irresistible to success. Life moves fastest where there is least resistance. Every great turnaround begins not with action, but with assumption. The moment you assume improvement, improvement is already in motion. The moment you assume support, help is already approaching. The moment you expect wealth, wealth begins its quiet journey toward you. Nothing responds to you faster than life itself. It mirrors your anticipation with astonishing accuracy. And it never questions whether your expectation is big or small. It simply matches it. So expect wisely. Expect boldly. Expect beautifully. For whatever you expect long enough eventually arrives. True riches were never meant to be measured only in currency. Yet when you become rich within, the outer world cannot remain empty for long. Many people chase money believing it will finally give them peace, but peace does not come from possession. It comes from permission to live freely, to breathe deeply, and to stop proving worth through suffering. When your inner life is starved, no amount of wealth will satisfy you. But when your spirit is full, money becomes a servant instead of a master. Wealth, in its purest form, is the ability to live without fear. It is the freedom to make choices without panic, to rest without guilt, and to enjoy without suspicion. A person who is always anxious about tomorrow is poor in peace, even if they appear rich in possessions. Meanwhile, someone who walks in calm confidence carries an invisible fortune wherever they go. The outer world may change, numbers may rise and fall, but inner wealth creates stability that money alone cannot provide. Gratitude is one of the highest currencies ever created. It multiplies what remains and resurrects what seemed lost. When appreciation becomes your default state, you tell life that you are already rich, and life rushes to prove you right. Bitterness repels blessing, envy scares away opportunity, but thankfulness creates a climate where goodness grows easily. Life flourishes where it is honored. Courage is another form of wealth. Every time you dare to believe beyond your past, you deposit strength into your future. Fear is costly. It charges interest on imaginary problems. It drains energy from present joy, but courage pays dividends in confidence, clarity, and peace. It allows you to move forward even when certainty is not visible. A courageous heart is richer than any bank account because it creates unlimited possibility. Purpose, too, is a fortune. People without meaning are always chasing distraction. People with direction attract opportunity. When your life serves something greater than anxiety, abundance begins to serve you. Purpose aligns you with something larger, and whatever aligns with something larger receives support from it. The more clearly you live, the more generously life responds. Freedom is not something money buys. It is something awareness unlocks. A wealthy mind feels no chains in modest circumstances and no fear in great success. It understands that it can lose money and still remain rich, but it cannot lose peace without becoming poor. Wealth that depends on conditions is fragile. Wealth that grows from conscience is unbreakable. When your inner world becomes abundant, full of gratitude, courage, purpose, and peace, money starts responding differently to you. It no longer arrives through force but through flow. You stop chasing and begin attracting. You stop fearing loss and start trusting life. And in that trust, something profound happens. Life begins to protect you. You discover that the richest feeling on earth is not ownership but sufficiency, not control but confidence, not possession but peace. And once you become wealthy within, the world has no choice but to reflect it back to you. And now, as you stand at the edge of this understanding, remember that wealth was never something you were meant to chase across a lifetime. It was something you were meant to awaken within a moment. The struggle you are ready to release is not your identity. Hacernos and the Reflexiar Aipid, a BUNDINCE. You are unair to receive is not a NOVEDADESNSES. From this day forward, let your thoughts rise before your circumstances. Let your words speak before your hands move, and let your expectations arrive before your results. You were never created to survive. You were created to command, to expand, to overflow. So walk from here not as one who hopes, but as one who knows. Know that provision has a path to you, peace has claimed residence in you, and wealth responds to you. Life is listening, even now. Speak wisely, expect boldly, live richly, and watch as the world rearranges itself to meet the authority you have finally claimed within.